The Roush adjustable front and rear sway bars are perfect for the 2015 and newer Mustang owner who wants to vastly improve their car's handling performance without making compromises. This is a bolt-on kit that will dramatically improve the way your car handles corners and allow you to fine-tune the way it responds. Now, before we dive in, just a quick note on fitment. This kit will work on all 2015 and newer Mustangs, whether it has the standard suspension or the MagneRide suspension. However, it will not work on GT500 models. Now, sway bars are one of my favorite modifications to do on any vehicle, and that's because they can make a dramatic improvement in handling, really without much compromise at all. Now, the goal here is to reduce side-to-side motion and body roll when cornering. The bars here are both thicker than what you get from the factory, so these are going to stiffen things up dramatically. The front bar is 35 millimeters in diameter, and it's really hefty, and the rear is 25 millimeters in diameter. Both of these are three-way adjustable too. That means that you can dial in exactly how stiff you want both the front and rear end to be. The setting that is furthest out, so this one here, is going to be the softest, and as you move closer to the center of the bar, the settings are stiffer. So if you want a nearly instant amount of turn-in for a track day, you can crank them up, and then for your daily commute, you can set them back to the softest setting, or go in the middle setting for a nice balance of both. You can also adjust these independently to further dialing your setup, so if you want more oversteer, you can dial in a little bit more on the front. If you want it to be a little bit more neutral, you can have it more balanced between them. Now, even in the softest settings, you are immediately going to notice a difference with these. The moment you turn the wheel, because of that stiffer connection between the sides of the car, you're going to feel it start to respond. The kit also includes new polyurethane bushings that are significantly stiffer than your stock bushings. These are going to further prevent deflection, again, helping you stay in control of your car and giving you improved handling characteristics. Both bars are made from heavy-duty cold-formed steel, and they're finished in Roush's signature red powder coat for some additional protection against rust and corrosion. The cold forming means that the metal has not been heated up and subsequently weakened. And those poly bushings we were talking about, again, are stiffer than the factory rubber bushings, and they're designed to fit the upsized bars perfectly. The kit also comes with all new mounts and mounting hardware to accommodate these bars and help you get the job done. So installation is about as easy as it gets. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Now, pricing comes in at about $625 for the whole kit, which is a good chunk of change. However, if you were to buy these separately, you likely end up spending quite a bit more. And for the difference these can make, it really is a small price to pay. Like I've said multiple times throughout this video, mounting these to your car is going to make a dramatic difference in the way that it drives, but it's not going to punish you either. And it's really about the same as a really inexpensive set of coilovers. And you're getting a high quality item that makes your car drive better and doesn't compromise the ride quality. So really, what more can you ask for? Installation gets a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 2 hours to complete. Now, these are bolt-on parts, so you don't need to modify anything on the car itself. However, it can be a little fiddly to get the old ones out and get the new ones fed back into their place. So just budget a bit of extra time and some patience. Trust me, you'll be fine. We're also going to walk you through the process step by step right now, so let's head on out to the shop and we'll get into it.
Tools required for this install include a couple different size impact guns, a ratchet, a few extensions, 17 millimeter wrench, 8, 10, 18, and 24 millimeter sockets, 6 millimeter Allen socket, 13, 15, and 18 millimeter swivel sockets, swivel adapter, a caliper hook, grease, 18 millimeter ratcheting wrench, a hammer, and a pry bar.
Today we're installing sway bars on our Mustang, so let's get started. So we're going to be starting off in the rear here. We're going to be removing our upper sway bar end link mount as well as the bolt holding our brake line bracket in. So grab a 10 millimeter socket to remove that bolt first. Pop your brake line out of the way. And then we're going to take an 18 millimeter socket for our sway bar end link. So now that loosened it up, and now our ball joint's spinning. So I'm going to take an 18 millimeter ratcheting wrench on the nut, and then a 6 millimeter Allen socket with a ratchet onto the stud. Now you can pop that bracket off your end link stud, and then I'm just going to take a pry bar up against the frame, pry on the sway bar, pop your end link out. So now you're going to want to do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll come over to our mounts. You're going to need a 13 millimeter socket, I'm using a swivel socket to make it a little bit easier. Remove those 2 bolts. Then do that same thing on the other side and we'll fish this out. So now we're ready to pull our sway bar out. You can go to the driver's side or to the passenger side. Now I'm gonna pull down on our shackles to remove them. Give us a little bit less that's gonna get caught up. And then we're just gonna work it out. So now moving on to the front, we're gonna have to disassemble most of our passenger side suspension. There's only one way to get this out, and it's through the passenger side. So I'm gonna start by removing our caliper. I've got 2 15mm bolts, and I've got a caliper hook up onto my strut to hold it. So we've got our 2 bolts here that we need to remove. So take a 15mm swivel socket, pop those out. And then get a hand on your caliper before you remove the second. And then you slide your caliper off, hook it onto a caliper hook, and then hook it onto your strut. Now with that removed, you can pop your rotor off as well. Next, we're gonna take a 24mm socket and remove these 2 nuts, and then we can take a hammer and tap our 2 press bolts out of place. Now I'm just gonna slide the caliper off to the side so that we don't hit it by accident or hit our brake line. And then we're just gonna tap these bolts towards the other side. And now we're just gonna wiggle those bolts out on the other side. Bottom one's a little more stuck in there, so I'm going to take an extension to tap this through. Now next we need to disconnect the bottom of our sway bar end link. You can leave the top, that'll be okay. So I'm just going to take an 8mm socket to hold that stud and an 18mm ratcheting wrench to loosen up the nut. Then you can fully remove your nut. And then pop your end link out. Now once you're done with this side, you can repeat the same process for disconnecting the bottom of your end link on the other side. So now I've got the car lowered down, popped the hood, and we're gonna be going into the engine bay. I've got a combination of 9-inch extension, swivel adapter, 9-inch extension, 18mm swivel socket. We're gonna be removing our sway bar mounts from the engine bay. This is gonna be a lot easier, besides the 1 bolt that's gonna be left on the driver's side that we have to get through the fender well. So now we're looking at the passenger side mount here. I'm gonna go in front of the upper radiator hose to get the one closest to the front of the car. Then we can remove that one. And then I'm gonna go over the upper radiator hose to get to the back one. So now you can repeat that same process on the driver's side for the one that you can get to, and then we'll hop down into the wheel well for the last one. Now the last one's gonna be pretty hard to see, but it's gonna be right behind this plastic flap here. So I'm taking an 18mm ratcheting wrench. Then you can thread it the rest of the way out by hand, pull it out. So now comes the fun part of getting this thing out. Now I've got a buddy on the other side. I would highly recommend a second set of hands. He's gonna help guide it out while I pull it from here. And then once we got it cleared on the driver's side, he's gonna hop up in the engine bay and just guide it out. Make sure you're not hitting the crank pulley or the fan. Now we're gonna get our bushings greased up and installed onto our sway bars. So we have packets of grease included in the kit. We're gonna take our new bushing. We're just gonna put some down in there. And then just with your finger, spread it out and get a nice even coat. Thicker ones are gonna be for the front. And then we'll get the smaller ones for the rear. So now we can take our rear sway bar, maneuver it over the exhaust and that center carpet section and get it into place. Now we're going to bolt our sway bar up to our subframe. We've got a couple washers that we're going to be putting onto our factory bolts. And then put your shackle around your bushing and start threading in your bolts. And grab your 13mm swivel socket and just go back and forth and tighten these down evenly. Do the same thing on the other side. And now over here, we can install our end link. We've got 3 different options here. Your furthest away from the sway bar is going to be your softest setting. It's going to be like stock. Your medium is what Roush calls a sport setting. It's a little bit stiffer. And then you have your full stiff track setting closest to the sway bar. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to be using that middle one. So pop that in. And then we have a new bracket that we're going to be installing on here. Now you can use your stock one to line it up, get it right. So this is the threaded hole. We've got the hook around the side, so we know that's the right one. Drop that on. That hook is going to go into the next hole, or it could also go on the side of the sway bar if you use that last hole. So thread your nut on. Take your 18mm socket to tighten it down. And it's spinning a little bit, so I'm just going to get a pry bar on the back of it and see if it'll tighten up. Now it didn't work out, so we're back to our 18mm ratcheting wrench and our 6mm Allen socket. We want to be tightening with this one and loosening with the ratchet. Make sure that that little tab stays in the hole of the sway bar. And then you can grab that factory bolt for the brake line bracket. Thread that in. Take a 10mm socket, tighten it down, and do the same thing on the other side. So now we're just gonna go right back in with our front sway bar, the way that we took our factory one out. Now you wanna make sure that the sides that are gonna bolt to your end links are going up and not down. So now we're gonna grab our new shackles, we're gonna put them on top of our bushings and then thread in our factory bolts. So now reach down through the engine bay, pop that shackle over the bushing, and then thread in your 2 bolts. And then we're gonna take that combination of extensions and swivels again to get onto the bolt heads. It's gonna be an 18mm swivel socket on the bolt and tighten it down. And now you can repeat the same process for the shackle on the other side, and then we'll hop into the wheel well to tighten down that final bolt. So now we'll just hop down into the wheel well to tighten that one last bolt with an 18mm ratcheting wrench. So now we can hop back over to the passenger side, start buttoning up our suspension. We're going to connect our knuckle to our strut first and reinstall those press bolts. So now you can kind of pull down on your knuckle to get your holes to line up. Gonna have to push in for this next one. And I'm just gonna grab my hammer and tap them all the way through. And I'll grab my nuts, thread them onto the other side. And then grab your 24mm socket, get your caliper out of the way, tighten these down. Now you can grab your rotor, pop that on. I'm gonna take a lug nut to thread onto one of these studs to hold it up against the hub. It'll make it a little bit easier to get our caliper on. So now we can grab our caliper, pop it off our caliper hook, slide it over the rotor. And then start threading in your 2 caliper bolts. And grab your 15mm swivel socket and tighten those down. Now, last thing we need to do is connect our end link to our sway bar. Now you've got 3 options here. The hole furthest away from the sway bar is going to be just your normal street, close to OEM setting. The middle is going to be like a sport mode. And then the closest to the sway bar is going to be the stiffest, and that's going to be like for the track. I'm going to pull that nut off of there. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to be using this middle hole. Now I'm just rotating the hub with my hand just to get it to line up there. Thread that nut on the other side. And then I'm going to grab my 18mm ratcheting wrench and 8mm socket and tighten this down. Now be careful here that your ratchet doesn't bottom out back here so that you can't get it off. Right now I'm going to switch to an 18mm ratcheting wrench, and I'm going to grab the nut on the end link side and tighten that the rest of the way down. This is a 17mm wrench on this nut side. And then repeat that exact same process for your end link on the other side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Roush adjustable front and rear sway bars in red for your 2015 and newer Mustang, excluding GT500. Thank you for watching. For all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.